I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We could leave this whole place behind. Yeah, let's go. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We could leave this whole place behind.
Okay, my friends, so many of you asked for this video that there was no way I would not do it. Today we're going to talk about one of the most mysterious plugins in Cubase, and this is the Mod Machine. I talked about Mod Machine very briefly in one of my recent videos. If you haven't watched it, I'm going to link it right here. So in that video, I talked about 5 Cubase plugins that I think are underestimated, not many people talk about, and I think they sound amazing. Mod Machine was one of them, and in that video, I asked you to tell me if you wanted me to make a specific video for any of the plugins, and Mod Machine was by far the top of the list. So many of you asked for a video for Mod Machine, and that's what I'm gonna do today. So today I'm going to demystify Mod Machine so that you can start using it and be creative with it. So Mod Machine can look a little bit daunting at first, but it's actually not so complicated, and you can create some really interesting sounds with it. So in this example, I'm going to be using a vocal because I think this will give you a very clear understanding of how the plugin works. Now, Mod Machine is a delay plugin. So this is its main purpose, but it has a very specific set of features that set it apart. And actually, it's very easy to dial in the sound that you want very, very quickly. So I'm going to play this vocal and we're going to start introducing it, and I'm going to start adding every feature step by step so that you can also create your own presets and not rely necessarily on the existing presets that are already really nice, by the way. So let's play.
I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We could leave this whole place behind. Yeah.
So, as you can hear, when I turn up the wet control, this is just a delay, and actually it's a mono delay, so you will see there's no panning going on, nothing like that. So right here we can select our delay time.
Let's go. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We could leave.
Okay, we have feedback, again, if we want to make the delay lines last for longer.
This whole place behind. Let's go. I'm saying it's tired.
And then we also have a drive control. So this allows us to make our delay a little bit more gritty. I'm going to go all the way to wet so that you can hear that.
Waiting, we could leave this whole place behind. Let's go.
Okay, so if you want to make your delays a little bit more lo-fi, have a little bit of distortion and saturation, then you can use the drive. So up to this point, very, very simple. I don't think any of you have any questions about this. This is a very simple thing. Now, this is where things get really interesting. We have a modulation section here. Now, this is a little bit ambiguous, but basically what it does is it adds pitch modulation. And one of the iconic delays of the 80s that had pitch modulation was the TC2290 that I actually have. This is a plugin that I bought because it adds a specific flavor and it complements my Cubase stock plugins. But this does a similar thing, so it can add pitch modulation that can make your delays sound more interesting and more organic. So let's try this and let's listen to it.
Let's go. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We could leave this whole place behind. Let's go.
So here's the thing, as you can hear, some really trippy delays there. If you don't turn up the width, this is not going to work, okay? So you need to turn up the width. The higher you go with the width, the more pitch modulation you're going to get. And rate is the speed, basically.
I'm saying it's tired of waiting.
And of course, you can sync this to the tempo if you want to. I always like, if I want my delays to be a little bit more organic, to add a tiny bit of rate here. So very slow so that it drifts in and out of pitch. That's a trick that I do with a 2290, but the 2290, funnily enough, is more complicated to operate. This is very simple. And one thing that many of you liked when I showed it on my video is this nudge button here, and this kind of emulates a cassette jam, right? So I said vinyl effects. It's not really a vinyl effect. It's a cassette jam, you know? So it sounds like this.
I'm saying it's tired of waiting, we can leave.
So yeah, you can have all these crazy effects, and of course this you can automate if you want to. Now, this is all quite simple up to this point. Now let's go to what I think that most of you are going to be wondering how it works, and this is this section here. This is what looks a little bit daunting because you have this big section here where you can see the signal flow, but this is what it is. It just shows you the signal flow so that you can understand how it works. So basically what this section is, it's your filter section, but it's not only a filter section. This allows you to make Mod Machine sound wider. It can create some auto pan effects, and that's what makes it really intriguing. So we have the filter type, so we can have low pass, band pass, high pass. Now we have two positions for the filter. One is the output, which I use most of the time, and you can also place it in the feedback loop. So you can see actually the signal flow right here. It's a really nice educational tool in my opinion. I like that this is here. So you can see we have the input, it goes into our delay, and we have a parallel that goes into our filter, and then they get summed here in the output. And if we go for the output, you see we have the delay, and after the feedback and the drive, we get into the filter. So let's start activating the filter. I'm not going to mess with the Q factor yet. I just want to show you the filter first. So you have LFO and manual control. I'm going to start with manual because I want to show you how the filter sounds like.
Let's go, I'm saying it's tired of waiting, we can leave this.
Now let's change the filter position to loop.
Oh, please be mine. Let's go, I'm saying it's tired.
So most of the times I have it set in output, to be honest with you, because it's a more obvious effect. So as you can see, I'm just using a filter on the delay line, and I can have low pass, band pass,
let's go, I'm saying it's tired.
So already you have a really capable delay plugin that has filters and everything, so you can make the delay sit well in the mix. Now, here's where things get interesting. If I go to LFO now, I can modulate the filter so that it opens and closes. And I can set the low range, so the lowest value and the highest value. And I can use the special control here. Have a listen.
Let's go, I'm saying it's tired of waiting, we can leave. Oh, please be mine.
Yeah, and this is a stock plugin. I know many delays that are paid delays, and they don't do this. They cannot do this. Okay, so easily as well. So as you can see, now we're modulating the filter with the LFO, and we can sync it, of course, and we can make it completely free.
Let's go, I'm saying it's tired of waiting, we can leave.
And now here's the clever thing. If we activate special here, now we're going to get this really wide delay sound. Again, a very, very close approximation to the TC2290. So if you don't want to spend money buying the TC2290, I mean it does more than this, then this is a great alternative. So let's try and listen.
Oh, please be mine. Let's go, I'm saying it's tired of waiting, we can leave.
So now you can hear the delay going back and forth from the left and right channel. And this is great for vocals. I love it for vocals. I love it for synths. And the great thing is that we can have the delay being in eighth notes, and this we can have it in quarter notes.
Oh, please be mine. Let's go, saying it's time.
So the panning moves independently of the delay repeats, and this is really cool because most delays, they do ping pong and each one goes left right left right left right. It's very predictable, where here you have a more organic sound because the delay is eighth notes, but the filter and the panning modulates according to a completely different speed.
Let's go. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We can leave.
And you know what? If I want to make my delay sound even more organic, I just unsync it and I just go with a manual speed. So don't think that you have to use the syncing options here. Experiment. And let's add a bandpass, for example.
Whole place behind. Yeah. Let's go. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We can leave this whole place behind. Yeah. Let's go.
So you can create some really interesting effects. So this is the filter frequency. Then if we go to this section here, we have the Q factor. Now this is exactly the same philosophy, but it controls the resonance of the filter. So it makes the sound a little bit more aggressive. Okay, so let's start introducing this.
Saying it's tired of waiting. We can leave this whole place behind. Yeah. Let's go. I'm saying it's tired of waiting.
I mean, you can tell how many crazy sounds you can get with this. I use it for guitars many times, you know, but for a stock plugin, I can't stress this enough. This could cost like $100, you know, maybe more. I've seen paid delay plugins that cannot do these things. So this is the manual mode. Now I can also add an LFO to this one, and this can also have its own speed. So I can just say I want to have it in, you know, I don't know, maybe half notes.
Saying it's tired of waiting. We can leave this whole place behind. Yeah. Let's go. I'm saying it's tired.
To high every bar. So this is really cool. Let's make it a little bit faster.
Tired of waiting. We can leave this whole place behind.
And we can also have the spatial control here for the resonance. So we can also have the resonance have an offset between left and right channels. So this gives you an even wider sound. Let's have a listen.
Behind, yeah. Let's go. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We can leave this whole.
One important thing for the spatial controls to work is that you have to be in LFO mode in both of them. So as you can see here, I have frequency, I've set it to manual, and now I have the Q factor also to manual. Check what happens when I go to LFO. Just the delay now.
I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We can leave this.
So we get a little bit of width right there, so it's not a mono delay line anymore. So these are pretty much the controls, and you can actually be very creative. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to mess about with some controls. I want you to hear what kind of sounds you can expect from this plugin that lives inside your Cubase folder.
Let's go. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We can leave this whole place behind. Yeah. Let's go. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We can leave this whole place behind. Yeah. Let's go. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We can leave this whole place behind. Yeah. Let's go. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We can leave this whole place behind. Yeah. Let's go. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We can leave this whole place behind. Yeah. Let's go. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We can leave this whole place behind. Yeah. Let's go. I'm I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We could leave this whole place behind. Yeah, let's go, love. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We could leave this whole place behind. Yeah, let's go, love. I'm saying it's tired of waiting. We could leave this whole place behind.
And yeah, this is another trick, you know, up the feedback and start messing with it. This is so freaking good. And you know, this is a stock plugin. Let's sit for a second and think. You know, this is inside Cubase, and so many people didn't know about this. I made the video, so I know that many people didn't know about this plugin. And I'm so happy to share this with you. This plugin really brings a smile to my face. And it's so funny because sometimes I get the occasional comment that somebody says, hey, you cannot be so excited about this plugin, you know, you're getting paid, whatever. You have to understand, if you are into this and you're a professional, and I'm sure many of you will relate, you actually get a kick out of checking out plugins and, you know, playing with sounds and creating stuff and thinking, oh, I'm gonna use this in my next track. This is what drives you. If you're not excited about this, you're probably in the wrong business. You can do something else and maybe not music. But for the rest of you who are, by the way, the vast majority, and you are getting pumped by things like this, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for supporting the channel. By the way, this video, of course, is not sponsored. If you want to support the channel, use the super thanks button down below, or, you know, you can check any of my instruments, the Modern 80s drum kit and the Apollo expansion for patch. If you have Cubase, maybe you want to check out these sounds. With this, I'm going to leave you, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know that many of you asked for it. Thanks so much. Take care, and bye-bye.